Hi, so today I thought I'd talk about an interesting article that I found that was recently updated, and it provides some insight into how practicing Leetcode problems can be related to interview performance. And so these guys, what they've done is on Interviewing.io, which is, I guess, an interview preparation platform, they've collected, well, they've done surveys and collected from about 700 engineers who are interviewing using their platform, their Leetcode profiles and their LinkedIn profiles. And they've identified correlations between, how much they practiced and what types of problems they practice with the interview success. So that's quite an interesting read, and I'll put the link in the description of the video. Some of the main takeaways are that the difficulty, well, the first thing is that the total volume matters only up to a point when you solve Leetcode problems. So, people who solve around 500 problems were, according to their analysis, statistically among the top performers. But beyond 500 problems, you see little to no return on your investment. So targeting 400 to 500 questions seems to be the sweet spot to prepare for interviews with Leetcode. And what is more is that there is a correlation between the difficulty of the problems and the interview performance. So it seems that hard questions carry much more benefit than medium questions. And so they actually calculate, how much percentage the interview score went up per hard problems that you solved. And they even say that hard problems can be up to twice as effective as medium problems. So if you practice 100 hard problems, that's more than 200 medium problems. And the reason for that is that hard problems require more steps and more techniques to be solved. So you're practicing more in a single hard problem than, I guess, in a single medium problem. Now, what I also found interesting is that the performance of the Leetcode contests had absolutely no correlation to interview performance, which is good for me to hear because I don't participate in the contest. Why would I? The contests are really about solving the problem in super fast time, which is not what you're necessarily evaluated on in an interview. So in an interview, communication, clean coding, being able to formulate trade-offs and explain your ideas is much more important than being 5 minutes faster than somebody else. And even arriving at the optimal solution doesn't carry as much of weight as it maybe does in a Leetcode contest. So they also make a point on that you want to build up some momentum with a solving Leetcode problem, and that's where I would say yes, definitely the case. So what I did when I started to prepare for Leetcode the first time was I would try the hard problems, thinking that I need to practice hard to really get good, and that killed my momentum so many times. And then I wasn't even able to solve medium problems and getting stuck all the time. And I always thought, oh, easy problems are too easy, so why would I do them? And then I discovered, hey, I can just browse through the easy problems. I run into issues every now and then, but then I learn something. And it's so nice to just build up momentum. And at one point, I ended up solving all of the easy problems, and they took me between 1 and 5 minutes. And you really build momentum, and you get down the interview or the coding routine. Like, it's almost muscle memory when you start to write some of these algorithms, like depth first search or depth first search with a deck or something. I can do that in my sleep now, because I just grinded easy ones until there were no more easy ones left. And then I started to mix in medium ones every now and then. And on Leetcode, you can rank them by the acceptance rate, right? So if you go to Leetcode, you will have an acceptance rate. There are some easy problems that have a low acceptance rate. Try to avoid that. And they also say that in the article that you want to pick problems that have a high acceptance rate because that hints towards that these are problems that don't have any gotchas, any nasty edge cases that are hard to miss or hard to debug. So, so you now have two ways of prioritizing your practice. First, you go by difficulty, and the second one is to go by acceptance rate. And you will know when to move to the next difficulty level yourself. Once you're confident and once you get less stuck than you do, than not. And yeah, what else? So let's see. Yeah, Leetcode question are a reasonable proxy for predictors for interview performance. Ratings and contest scores don't matter. Question and question difficulty do. So focus on tackling increasingly difficult questions until you've hit that point of diminishing returns near 500. That's right. And if you, well, I would highly recommend that you read this. My personal preference is to grind easies so that they become second nature. Then start to grind mediums until they become second nature. And then suddenly you will run into hard problems that are also very easy for you to solve. So that was my approach. But I thought I'd share this. This is really some good stuff to know if you want to use Leetcode to prepare for coding interviews effectively. So definitely give this a read.